So when we first started, we had a look at lands itself, the lands department that facilitates all of this. And there was a lot of problems that was faced with the lands department. I am the first to admit it. The secretary sitting beside me would also admit it. We had to fix the lands department itself as a facilitator of all of this. So faced with those challenges, we fixed the land department. I got a new secretary appointed within 6 months of me in office. Someone I thought would be able to drive the lands policies side by side with me, having a land secretary. And then we tried to improve the systems of governance inside the lands department. But we were faced with a lot of issues. There was no proper records inside the lands department. There was no proper systems and processes that were in place, or the systems were too weak to be used properly. So the onus was on both myself and the secretary to fix those systems. So we sought help from our development partners, Australia, for example, and I'd like to say on record a special thank you. So they chipped in to help and tried to help us strengthen our processes so that we could be able to fix our internal mechanisms and workings inside the Department of Lands. It's not as easy as everyone would say. Once you get appointed minister, everyone thinks that everything slides into line. You will be faced with a lot of challenges, bureaucratic red tape, a lot of processes, but having a good secretary working closely with me and also having a lot of arguments. Secretary has a mind of his own and we both sometimes have major arguments, but I think that's good. That's good for development when you can be able to have someone that doesn't always say yes to you. But as I always say, I like a good challenge and I always try to win the argument. But working together and having our new restructure being done, which is now complete, we're trying to facilitate and ensure that all processing lands are done much more faster. Normally, a title transfer should take 2 weeks. It sometimes takes 8 months. I'm the first to admit it. So those processes need to be done. But what are the challenges in those things? You need to have good staff, proper staff there, the proper processes in place, a good departmental head to drive it, and then the processes that you put in place need to be able to function independently without interference. We had issues of record keeping. We don't have proper record keeping. So in comes our Australian partners, and we managed to now start the process of fixing our record keeping. Then we have a partner called NewPay that joined us, an extremely critical partner, because having all this land in Papua New Guinea, but not able to getting proper rates and proper returns was one of the most critical things also. When I first started, we collected about 9 million kina per annum on land rates for the whole of the country. We didn't have proper records of where we could get those monies from. There was no proper reconciliation. I'm glad to announce today that with the partnering of NewPay has now fixed the systems, our collection and pay systems, and that collection and pay systems now, last year we collected 40 million kina, from 9 million to 40 million. By fixing little things, from 40 million, this year we expect 60 million to be collected. By next year, Lands Department are expected to be able to collect 100 million. And you would be surprised at the amount of people that don't pay the land rates. I'm not talking about the mums and dads. I'm talking about the big corporate conglomerates who do not pay the land rates, just because lands doesn't have proper records. So fixing those records, getting money, and the money doesn't go to lands. The money goes back into consolidated revenue, and my aim and ambition is to ensure that lands per annum contributes over 100 million towards the consolidated revenue. We have outstandings of close to $500 million that has not been collected. $500 million. in anyone's terms. Once you collect that, that is able to go into hospitals, into roads and everything else. So it has been a huge challenge, but I can say that challenge, we have done it up to 50% already. We've now fixed most of the problems, and with the help of NewPay, managed to start collecting it. A lot of people also said, how much did you pay for that system? Because a lot of people are used to government entities going out and buying expensive IT systems, 20 million, 30 million, 40 million. And Lands itself previously had accumulated nearly, I shouldn't say accumulated, invested in the last 10 years, maybe close to 50 million. Close to 50 million and different IT systems that never seem to work. The partnership with NewPay, I'm glad to say, has worked extremely well. And how much did it cost? When people ask me, how much did it cost the government and the taxpayer of Papua New Guinea? Zero. It didn't cost me one toya. We decided to do it in a different way, that the method of payment, working in partnership with the banks, that the banks, they pay a bit of a surcharge out of the cards that you pay when you pay your bills. The surcharge, they take a bit out of that, and that's how it gets paid. And the government does not pay one toya towards it. So it's a system that has worked very, very well for us. Improving that system now will make our collection a lot more better. It will also make reconciliation between the land payment user and the government more effective. We can be able to identify who actually owes how much towards the land rates and stuff.